Good blessed Throwback Thursday, September the 23rd, 2021. It's about 4:54 p.m. I'm here in Carbondale, Illinois, Jackson County, in the area where my son was found hung March the 19th, 2021. I just came from meeting with the prosecuting attorney in Carbondale, Illinois, in one of his paralegals, and a female that called me last Thursday on September the 16th to tell me that there was she said she was a victim advocate. I don't when I went with two preachers that I respect, and they sat in with me, was able to listen to what was going on. The bottom line, the prosecuting attorney, just like the pathologist, just like the Jackson County coroner, and the Carbondale, Illinois Police Department, none of them believed that my son was murdered. I ain't gonna have you in here, baby girl. I got it over here on this building. In this building right here, this is the 400 block of Sycamore, where his t-shirts was found on the 3rd floor. Downstairs on the 1st floor, that fire extinguisher that you see there, the box was broke and the fire extinguisher was taken out, and glass was down there, and an axe was found right up in this area by one particular female. But the reason why I'm telling y'all this, you see all this area here? The prosecuting attorney told me from the notes that the police gave him. And I specified with him, me and him wasn't here, but what the police gave him. Now this is the corner of Oakland and Sycamore. Now, he would tell me that the police said that they had this whole area cornered off. What, couldn't nobody come out of none of these apartments over here. And let me show you, I'm gonna show you in a minute how that's a lie. And I explained to him, I got pictures to prove that they didn't have it cornered off where couldn't nobody come in and out. Now my son's body was found over here, right around the corner. Right around the corner, right here in the 400 block of North Oakland Street. The other one was Sycamore Street. Now my son's body was found up here on the 3rd floor. Now he had a cut across his hand, y'all, all the way down to the tendons. And I just got through talking to the lady that cleans these places. And she said when she cleaned it, it looked like nothing even ever happened there. What that tell you? But yet my son had a drop of blood on his gym shoe. He had a spot of blood on his pants. On the front, a spot of blood on the back of his pants. His 1st, 7th, and 8th rib was fractured. And I asked the prosecuting attorney, how do we explain that, since he go by science? And he told me that he don't know when that happened. But you got a pathologist. You see what I'm saying? If the prosecuting attorney didn't know when it happened, he should have wanted to know when it happened, but I bet if it was one of his family members, he would have found out when it happened. Then I asked him about the blood. This cleaning lady ain't seen no blood up there at all, and it was clean like nothing even happened. She said for somebody hanging themselves, she said wasn't nothing disturbed. But where's the blood, y'all? Let me tell you where the blood at. If he was cut before he got killed or died, then that blood would be squirting out, y'all. It would have been right where the area at. But they can't tell me where that blood at. That ain't nothing. And let me tell you something else. Right down the street, now his body found up here. Right down the street, maybe about 2 more blocks down on the left-hand side, a white female that works at this Carbondale Rebound High School was spending his food stamps. Matter of fact, she was spending them 39 days after he was found dead. He was found dead March 19, 2021. Right here. She down there on April the 29th, 2021, spending his stamp. I asked him, is that a crime? He said it's a crime. He asked me, do I want him to prosecute that? Why should I have to ask you to prosecute it? If that was a black woman spending a dead a white man's food stamp, would they family have to ask you to prosecute it? But you see, what they want to do is they want people to think that ain't no murders happening here in Carbondale, Illinois, but it's happening. And he didn't like the way I was talking to him. He told me I was angry. I let him know he don't know me because I let him know I've been to prison before a couple of times for manslaughter because somebody tried to do something to me and I protected myself when they pulled guns on me. So you don't know me to say I'm angry. But when you tell me that they had this area secured, wouldn't let nobody in and out, the people said it wasn't even no crime scene tape. If they couldn't get in and out, how did that woman get over here and take all them pictures? Now, while the police over here on the Oakland side of the street, how did the woman get a chance to take those pictures and then come back over here after she took the pictures in the hallway and outside of the hallway and then go tell the police if she couldn't get out of this building? You want me to tell you why? Because they didn't have this scene secured. My son was just a black man that been to prison, black man that was on drugs, black man that had some little mental illness, but he still didn't have a right to be killed. They may be through with it, but I ain't. Peace be still. Good blessed Throwback Thursday, September the 23rd, 2021. It's about 9:53 p.m. I greet all human beings around the world with peace and the blessing of God. But I'm back again to continue to let you all know what happened today with my meeting with the prosecuting attorney in Murfreesboro, Illinois, Jackson County. When we went to meet the prosecuting attorney for the investigation of my son's death, I took two ministers. Two ministers came, met me down there. You know, I asked other ministers, but didn't nobody else have time, which no harm meant. But I thank God for these two ministers, these two men of God, who took time to leave some of their other schedules to be there with me, to give me spiritual and moral support. And I was glad that they came so they can see what I've been putting up with for the last 6 months with the Carbondale Police Department, not 6 months with the Jackson County prosecuting attorney, but he'd been meeting back and forth with the chief of police of Carbondale, Illinois. But anyway, when we met today, the prosecuting attorney had he had a paralegal, female paralegal, and had a female victim advocate. And when we were sitting down talking, he asked the victim advocate, or the both of them, the victim advocate and the paralegal, did they have my son file there with him? When he had the file, even though these is two binders here, the file combined together was about as thick as this here, or maybe a little bit thicker. He said he read all of that. You know, he could have read all of it, but I doubt it very seriously. You know, I wasn't there, but I would doubt it very seriously. And when he opened it up in the end of it, he was showing me some little CDs like these here. he was showing me a bunch of CDs where he said that he had it in the back in some cases like these. He said that that they got a lot of video coverage concerning my son's death. You see, he showed us these here, but he didn't show us no videos. He showed us this big binder, but he didn't show us nothing in there but about 2 or 3 papers that he had. Some blue papers or green papers, about 2 or 3 pieces of paper like this here, but it was blue or green, and it was notes that the police took. And the notes that he was taking, he told me that they did a thorough investigation. He said that they sealed off the scene where my son's body was found. He said they sealed it off where nobody could come in or out of the buildings, and they had it blocked off. He said a CSI individual was called, and he kept mentioning what Sergeant Guy Draper did. Sealed the place off, called the CSI guy. But if he called the CSI guy, why would the other investigator tell me that Sergeant Draper found a footprint, maybe matching my son's gym shoe? But I ain't gonna even talk about that. But he showed us these 3. He was just pointing to these 3 papers, and he was reading off of them. He said Sergeant Draper and this other sergeant that came on the scene, he said that the first thing they did was they sealed off the area where my son's body. They wouldn't let nobody leave out of the building or come in the building, and they had it sealed off. I talked to people, not just today, but I talked to people all the time that I was coming up there to investigate myself. And they said the building wasn't sealed off. And I'm going to show you how the building wasn't sealed off. And I told him, when he said apartment such and such, apartment such and such, we looked at all of these, we knocked on the doors of all of these people, and then those that wasn't there, we went back again. Okay, that's all good. But if it was sealed off, how would the female on the 3rd floor on the Sycamore side, how would she be able to take pictures of my son's t-shirt right in front of her apartment on the outside, then go downstairs to the 2nd floor and take a picture of the mask, go down to the 1st floor and take picture of glass on the floor, glass where the fire extinguisher was because it was broke out, and to show that this fire extinguisher was took out. Then now they had it sealed off where they couldn't come out. How did she get out of her apartment? Then she not only got out of her apartment, came from the 1st, the 2nd to the 1st floor, then went out of the building, but the building was sealed off. Went around the corner. If you look at some of my videos, went outside of the door and on the Sycamore side, went right around the corner of the building, on the side of the building, and took a picture of an axe that's supposed to have been related to whatever my son was doing. How would she get all of this here? And the police is around the corner on the other side where my son's body was. So if the police was there, the paramedics was there, where is the police that got the people sealed off? That showed he going on what they notes. I told him, you wasn't there and I wasn't there. But I said, you telling me what they notes said. I said, but you wasn't there. I wasn't there. But I got document proof. Ain't the building wasn't sealed off. I said, if they put the building was sealed off in there and it wasn't sealed off, what else did they lie about? Then I asked him, my son's hand, he said, well, there's blood on the, he didn't show no picture. It was blood on his gym shoe. I know I seen that. It was 1 drop of blood on his gym shoe. It was blood on his pants. I seen that in the pathologist report. It was a spot of blood on the front of his pants and a spot of blood on his back by his back pocket. I seen all that. He didn't open none of this here to show me nothing but show me the casings of these videos. And guess what the videos was? They wasn't nowhere where my son's body was found, or his t-shirts was found, or where his wallet was found. But he said it was by service stations. Ain't no service station by where my son's body was found. It's a big building with apartments in it on both sides, on the Oakland side and on the Sycamore side. Now in the 400 block of west of Oakland, Sycamore, in the 400 block west north of Oakland Street. Now, ain't armory is around that. There's no cameras in that area. He didn't show us none of that. Then we talked about some of the autopsy things, and he said, well, I have them. I said, I had them before you. I had them since August the 5th when I came to talk to you. But he gonna tell me when I told him he already concluded that my son committed suicide. And I said, how do you explain that his first, 7th, and 8th rib being fractured from hanging himself? He tells me, I don't know when that happened. Now, what that tell you? Then he's also told me, like the sergeant told me one time, the sergeant detective, when I was showing him about the way my son was, the belt was around his neck and it was coming through the bars. He told me, I said, ain't no way, no possible my son did that, did it himself. The sergeant told me, I've been doing this for 10 years and I went to school for it. And I let him know it didn't make no difference how many years you went to school for it. You see what I'm saying? And how many years you've been doing this here. Common sense would tell me that the way my son's, the way that the direction that belt was going, ain't no way my son did it. But the prosecuting attorney let it be known a couple of times. He said, I think I'm the one got the doctor's degree. At least I thought I had the doctor's degree. Yeah, you might have a doctor's degree, but if you got your doctor's degree and then the pathologist have her PhD or whatever she have, you see what I'm saying? The coroner have his, the chief of police have his, the investigators got his, then why can't y'all explain to me when my son ribs was fractured? If the 7th rib had hemorrhaging in it, it would tell a person that it must have not been a year ago, because the hemorrhaging ain't gonna stand there a year and he being alive and well. You see what I'm saying? The pathology report says clearly it was even though she said mild blunt trauma, it was blunt trauma to his ribs where they was fractured. You see what I'm saying? His hand was cut, she said, to the tendons from here to here. I seen his hand. Dried up blood on it. You see what I'm saying? If his hand was cut from here to here, and he was cut when he was alive, and it was cut down to the tendons, tell me why it wasn't no blood. The cleaning lady, I talked to her today, September the 23rd, 2021, after I left the meeting in Murfreesboro, Illinois, with the prosecuting attorney and his paralegal and his victim advocate, which I asked the victim advocate and the paralegal a question, and they wouldn't even answer because the prosecuting attorney said something, and I knew what he was saying wasn't true, and he said he didn't say it, and I asked him, did he say this? They just looked. They didn't say a word. But it didn't bother me. Then he said, "Oh, you getting on my paralegal and my victim advocate." No, I ain't getting on. I just asked him a question. But I told her, you not a victim advocate for me and my son. The paralegal ain't here for my son. And I told the prosecuting attorney, you ain't here for my son. I said, God, me, and these two preachers I brought, we for my son. Out of all this stuff you got, the only thing that you can refer to this. Why do you didn't show me and the preachers and them the pictures of my son hanging? Why do you go over the coroner's report? Because the coroner didn't do a thing but sign the death certificate saying that my son committed suicide. But I'm just going to tell you this here. He told me he said, why is you so angry? He said, you study speaking bad about me, the chief of police, and the pathologist in the corner. Why is you so angry? And I told him, you don't know me. I ain't angry. You see what I'm saying? If I was angry, I would react like I reacted 40 or 50 years ago. But I ain't angry. You see what I'm saying? You don't know me. Then he told me about how he grew up in a rough side of Chicago on 71st and something. But I told him I grew up in the the most notorious housing projects in the country, Cabrini Green. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, what you talking about you grew up at and where I grew up is two totally different things. But the bottom line is, he don't know when my son ribs was fractured. He don't know what a blood at from my son's hand being cut. You see what I'm saying? And then I asked him about the white female who was spending my son's food stamp card. Oh, that don't have nothing to do with this. I said, but it's a crime. He said, oh, do you want me to prosecute that? Do I have to ask you to prosecute that? It's a crime. But then it's a white woman spending a dead black man's food stamp card. You see what I'm saying? But let me just say this here, and I'm going to let my daughter finish it off. He told me, since I kept on questioning stuff, he said, well, you get a piece of paper and write down the things that you want us to do, or you write down a name on a piece of paper, or write down a name that who you think killed your son, and then maybe we can investigate this here. That ain't my job. I talked to a guy today, right when my son was found dead. Wasn't nothing around there but meth addicts. Most of them is white. 9 to 10 times the nine out of all of them was white. Ain't nothing wrong with them. All of them knew my son. Most of them is scared to talk because they don't want to talk to the Carbondale Police Department. But let me tell you this here. A guy told me that he seen a guy with my son's ID card. And it had Marion on it. And I believe that. You see what I'm saying? I believe that. Just like the white woman had his wallet. Claims she found it 4 or 5 blocks down the street from where his t-shirts was found. But let me just say this here. He wanted to keep it open after I said that I don't agree with what they saying. And he let me know that him and the chief of police and the rest of them, they feel insulted about me and my YouTubes. He said it's really hurt the chief about the way you talking about him. I said it hurt me and my daughters when he said my son had a lot of demons in it. It hurt me and my daughters when you, the prosecuting attorney, on August the 5th, 2021, when I met with you alone, and you told me, after me talking to you about 45 minutes, you told me everything I told you. I could have went and told a Walmart clerk because you didn't have my son filed. But then you gonna try to say you will keep it open. You want to keep it open because you don't want them to see them pictures of my son hanging. You don't want people to question, how don't you know, or your investigators know, when my son ribs was fractured? You see what I'm saying? Why y'all don't know where that blood is at? Then you tell me that you telling me to Google up about my son's hand being balled up with money in it. And people can die just like that there. But once people see, once you release, he said he's going to release them reports tomorrow, y'all. September the 24th, he going to tell the police that he's closing this here and going to conclude like they did, which he already did, that it was a suicide. And that's what I want him to do. So a newspaper outside of Carbondale, Jackson County, Illinois, that's what it took for other people who cases that was claimed to be suicide or something else, it took to go outside of Carbondale. You see, if they can put in a news break, a police press report about a man killing a dog, and then when I brought that to him, he gonna tell me, you don't think we should prosecute the guy for killing the dog? I said, no, that ain't my point. If the dog murder is important, then my son's death, if you asking the community for help and call your tip line, Why ain't you asking for no help from me? You even put a $500 reward out so somebody getting information about the dog. But my son, you ain't even got a penny. But let me tell you one thing about this here. This ain't the first time I went through stuff with the prosecuting attorney in the police department here in Charleston, Missouri. But see, the police, the prosecuting attorney, and all these crooked individuals, all you got to do is look around. God is watching, and He ain't pleased. Just like I told that prosecuting attorney, you may be having the power right here, but I said God got the last say so. God got the last say so. And I want y'all to watch this here because I'm waiting for the bigger newspapers to look at this here and other authorities to look. And then I bet you they can tell you when my son's ribs was fractured. Y'all looking at the fact, you gonna ask me how often did I communicate with my son? How often did you communicate with him? You put a warrant out for him when he was dead. You had a warrant out for my son, 2 warrants out for my son, prosecuting attorney. You see what I'm saying? You had 2 warrants out for my son for failure to appear and failure to register as a murder. You had a warrant put out on him on the 24th, and he had been dead already for 5 days. But let me tell you one thing. I'm glad you don't like what I'm saying. That's why I brought 2 God-fearing individuals. I know you. I know your paralegal and your victim advocate. I know y'all don't fear God. I know the police department don't fear God. I know the pathologists don't fear God. And I know that the coroner's office don't fear God. Because if y'all feared God, y'all would have did a thorough investigation. Somebody would have known when them ribs was fractured. I bet you if a black man was even a suspect of doing something to a white person, it would be something. White woman find his wallet. White woman find his t-shirts. White woman spending his food stamps. Oh, this day and age, you can't, a black person can't, a white person can't be prosecuted in Southern Illinois or Southeast Missouri when it comes to a white person doing something to a black. But I tell you one thing about it. God is shaking up Southeast Missouri. Y'all take a look around. These wicked people in the courthouses, in the prosecuting attorney's office. Look what God doing to them. They're going to do the same thing in Southern Illinois, Jackson County. God going to shake y'all up. I was over there on Sycamore in Oakland today, and the people said they tired of all that shooting over there. Tired of people talking about their bikes is being stolen. People are talking about the drug addicts. Y'all ain't concerned about that, but it's going to come down. God going to bring it down. I seen the way y'all was looking at me. What type of individual he thinking he is? Been in the penitentiary, a black man from the project talking to me. You talking about I disrespected your office. You and your staff disrespected me and my family. And I'm glad you don't like what I'm saying, because I'm going to keep on saying it. Now you look at this real good. You go home and look at it. You give it to the police department. You give it to the pathologist. And you give it to all the rest of you racist people down there that don't care about a black man because he was homeless, because he been to the pen and he was on drugs. We care about him. I'm going to let my daughter finish this here. I'm going to drop right now.
Hey everybody. I just wanted to come on here and show y'all my shirt and say a few things. It says justice for Brian, and then it has his picture on it, and then there's something on the back. I just wanted to come on here and say that I appreciate my dad for having the courage to go down to Carbondale today and let my brother's voice be heard, and for standing up to the prosecuting attorney and everybody else that was there. We all want to know why the prosecuting attorney is just going to close the case if you don't know how, and how my brothers how and when my brother's ribs got broken, and I want to know how is the justice system going to give anybody justice if they can't stand by their own rules. And I'm going to read something off my little paper. Okay. In the case of Dolly Maps versus the state of Ohio in the United States Supreme Court in 1961, a judge commented, and this is what he commented: there is no war between the Constitution and common sense. Nothing can destroy a government more quickly than its failure to observe its own law. So I just want to say that everybody continue to pray for us and continue to pray that we get justice. And I just want to say that we miss you, Brian, and we wish you were here for your birthday on Monday, but unfortunately they took you from us too early, and we love you.